Now, there is, I suspect, a very special Hitchens archive somewhere out there in some corner of YouTube, so let me know if you find it, will you?
Should be ordered. I mean, like the Brave New World concept of the alpha and the beta and down to the epsilon and so forth, which is a sinister behaviorist form of utopia. And the third is that it gratifies exactly the suspicion of many religious people that they're looked down upon and scorned by the pointy-headed intellectuals and so forth. And I absolutely promise you that I don't do that even with the real lowbrows and slopeheads among them. They're my fellow primates too.
I mean, so I was going to finish.
Even with the real
I was going to finish
vicious,
there.
you know,
I don't want to finish.
Barely evolved ones.
I don't want to finish on that bitchy note.
The ones whose eyes are so close together they could use a monocle. That's it. Are you saved? Oh, shut up.
Okay, just to be clear, and it's obvious, obviously, to just about everybody, but an atheist is a person who believes there is no God. An agnostic believes that nothing is known or can be known about the existence or nature of God. Why is that a less rational position than yours?
Sorry, I just jumped like a pea on a hot shovel because I'd meant to say this when you said about Stephen calling himself an agnostic. I would have been if I'd been around, and I still am, a great admirer of Thomas Huxley, the man who is the, I think, uncle of Aldous and Julian, who was known as Darwin's bulldog. He had the great debate on Darwin at the Natural History Museum in Oxford with Bishop Wilberforce, known as Soapy Sam to his parishioners, who was a descendant of the great William. And Huxley creamed him on that occasion, as everyone remembers. It was a walkover for our team. And so we're all very grateful to Thomas Huxley, but I can't thank him for his coinage of the term agnostic, which was his bolt-hole term. Again, to try for a compromise where I don't really think the basis for it exists. So you don't have to say you don't believe in God. You can simply say not all the returns, not all the evidence are or is in yet, so I won't declare. Now, I think that that's wrong twice. One, you're not saying that you cannot prove that there is no God. No atheist has ever said that. There is a scientist in America called Victor Stenger, who's produced a book called God, the Failed Hypothesis, who goes as far now as to say science can definitively say there isn't. But I think that's a very adventurous position. But the atheist view is there's absolutely no reason ever been advanced by another primate to believe that there is one. And when you've got that far, you really ought to say there isn't, it seems to me. Not that for that reason I'm not sure. And it's completely not on all fours with the other position, which is evidence has nothing to do with it. Faith is much more important. Not only should you have faith, but you'll be saved if you do. Now, that's not, I don't know. It's not, there might be. It's not, unless you do it with, like Pascal, and say it's a vulgar bet, it's a wager, what have you got to lose? Which I think is morally creepy, as well as evidentially unsound. Because if some huckster comes to me and says, look, he may not be there, but if he is, you've got everything to gain by saying you believe in him, even if you don't really, I'll say, well, then I don't think much of your God, because if there is such a person, and I spend my life arguing that there isn't, and I do my best, when I check out, which I sure will, if I find that I'm mistaken and I'm confronted with the guy, I would hope he would be able to say, I at least admire your honesty. Okay, let's close on this, ladies and gentlemen. The Christians don't give their God that much credit. So doesn't that say something both about the fear base and the fact base and the moral base of what their faith really is? I submit that it really does, and thus that one is morally healthier as well as much more likely to be studying science and reason objectively if one puts religion behind one.
Ladies and gentlemen, save your applause because I'd just like to say thank you. We see Christopher Hitchens here probably once a decade or something along those lines, and I hope we don't have to wait that long to see him again. I've certainly enjoyed talking to him. I'm sure you've enjoyed listening to him. Please thank him properly now.
Thank you. Nicely. Tony Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to show this? Yes. Am I covered in sweat?
I don't know what an encore is in this environment. Perhaps he could just sing one verse. One more verse.
Well, I've got to do it straight through.
Go ahead.
Of the boozed-out philosophers.
Yes.
Of the Wally Malou Philosophy Department. Ladies and Bruces. It's Eric Idle's great performance at the Hollywood Bowl. It's a real honour to be SK. Oh, Immanuel Kant was a real pissant who was very seldom stable. Martin Heidegger was a boozy beggar. He could think you under the table. David Hume could outconsume Schopenhauer and Hegel. And Wittgenstein was a beery swine.
René Descartes.
Who would know Wittgenstein was a beery swine who was just as sloshed as Schlegel. There's nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach about the raising of the wrist. Socrates himself was permanently pissed. John Stuart Mill, of his own free will, on half a pint of shandy got spectacularly ill. But Plato, they say, could stick it away. Half a crate of whiskey every day. Aristotle was a bugger for the bottle. Thomas Hobbes was a slave to his dram, and René Descartes was pissed as a fart. I drink, therefore I am. Yes, Socrates himself is particularly missed. A lovely little thinker. A lovely little thinker. Lovely little thinker, but a bugger when he's pissed.
Okay. Yeah.
If the song had a title, which it doesn't yet, I think it should be called Reductio.
This is ABC Fora.